أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Recapping somewhat from our topic, what we mentioned yesterday is that the speaker speaks in different accents within the Qur'an. I, we, the Lord. At the same time, the speaker distinguishes between itself and between Allah, gives Allah the final authority, the final discretion, the final destiny. يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. Allah wipes clean whatever He wants, and He establishes what He wants, and He has the mother of all books. We have also learned through these talks that the Qur'an, the book, the clear book, these are all different references or references to different realities, and they are all interplaying in the moment together. And the integral nature of the Prophet in the creation of the Qur'an as he progresses through life. We also stated that the speaker reserves, gives the right of knowledge of the final hour to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. None knows the time of the occurrence of the hour save Allah. The speaker makes that very clear within the Quran. We also said that the speaker says, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُ. Only He has the keys to the unseen. None knows them save He. We progressed in this manner. Then we came to that verse, that it is not for God to talk with a human, إِلَّا وَحْيًا, except for inspiration. And then the speaker, when it conveys the inspiration of God to the Blessed Prophet Muhammad, it doesn't tell us what the inspiration was. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. He revealed or He inspired His creature whatever He inspired. أَوْ مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ. Or Allah speaks to His creatures from behind a veil. أَوْ يُرْسِلَ رَسُولًا. Or He sends a messenger, فَيُوحِي بِإِذْنِهِ مَا يَشَاءُ. And He inspires by the consent of God whatever the speaker wants. That is how I'm choosing to interpret this verse, and we will come back to it today. However, on that note, then we said, when did God speak with anyone? The one person singled out in the Quran with the speech of God is Moses. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. Moses is celebrated with this one singular attribute, that he is the only one with whom God speaks with words. In any case, look at this verse, and it's mentioned several times within the Quran. فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا. I'm not giving you the references because we've done all of this. I just want to build on it. فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا نُودِيَ مِنْ شَاطِ الْوَادِ الْأَيْمَنِ فِي الْبُقْعَةِ الْمُبَارَكَةِ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ. He was called from the right-hand side, from a blessed spot, from a tree. Now, the speaker is narrating this event. He is not saying, I am saying it. The speaker is very diligent in the way the speaker is talking. He is narrating an event. Nudiya. He was called. No, Nudiya, yes. He was called. An ya Musa, O Moses, Inni an Allah. Indeed, I am Allah, Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the worlds. And we say there's a marked difference between the Lord in the Quran and the Lord of the worlds. The Lord of the worlds is a reference only to the ineffable God, the light of the heavens and the earth, and you've retained that in your minds. Now, look at this verse again in a different surah, and we're going to build quite a bit on this theme today. Surah An-Naml, verse number 8. It should be on it should be on today's WhatsApp list of verses. Surah Naml, verse 8. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهَا, and when Moses came to it, the burning bush, نُودِيَ, it was called out, أَنْ بُورِكَ مَنْ فِي النَّارِ, blessed is the one within the fire. Blessed is the one within the fire. وَمَنْ حَوْلَهَا, and those around the fire. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ, and glory be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Now here you are seeing that God speaks to Moses through audible words. But the speaker is not God. The speaker again is going back to the I and the we of the Qur'an. Blessed is the one within the fire and those around it. Now pay close attention to these verses when you read them. Now we want to progress into today's talk and gradually find out the identity of the Lord as opposed to your Lord when the reference is Allah, as opposed to the Lord of the worlds where the reference is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the light of the heavens and the earth. So now Allah, the ineffable one, the absolute core reality from which nothing can be separated, no intention, no thought, no motion, no glance. Yudrikul absar. He apprehends the sights, and the sights do not apprehend him. Huwa ma'akum aynama kuntum. He is with you wherever you may be. Laysa kamithlihi shay. There is nothing like him. Lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. There is no equal to him. Allah Samad, the fortified one, the impregnable one, you cannot get to him. He is so overwhelmingly present that he has become absent. In fact, the story comes, where are you, O human, who is trying to apprehend him? It is nothing but he. Now when it comes to a God like that, there is no recourse to that God. There is absolutely no recourse. It is but He, the undying truth and reality. But how, within our human condition, can we reach out to a God like that? It is not possible. As soon as you think it is other than Him, as soon as you feel spiritually His presence, it's other than Him. He cannot be confined. Ali Salamullah alayhi says, He is with all things, yet He touches not anything. He is other than all things, yet there is no distance between Him and anything. How can you capture such a reality within the mind? And how can such a reality be felt within the heart? Intuitively we know God is utmost beauty, yet we can't capture Him. In order for us to understand God, I'm going to use these words. Think about them afterwards. They may not be the best of phrases that I choose. We have to humanize God. He has to be made like us before we can relate to Him. An ant imagines its Lord has two antennas, for that is a perfection that the ant sees within an ant. So the Lord must have it, as Imam Sadiq says. Thank God for Imam Sadiq, eh? I would have never gotten away with this lecture had it not been for him. Just recite salawat and come forward, because the people are at the back. There I can. Sorry. So you guys can sit comfortably there. Although nobody's going to move, are they? So we have to personalize God. And God's relationship with each one of us has to be unique for it to be meaningful. In order for you and I to evolve and come of age, we cannot share God. We cannot. It's impossible. It doesn't work. Bilqis said, Rabbi zalamtu nafsi. My Lord, that real God that she felt from within. I have been oppressive to my soul. Now I surrender with Sulaiman to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. But Allah, the Lord of the worlds, is not the one she's talking with. She's talking with Rabbi, my Lord, inside her, whatever she is feeling. In order for us to relate to that untarnished beauty that prevails, that is with us, we have to make a relation with Him that is human-like. Can you see that? Now think into yourselves. Whenever you reach out to God, how do you reach out to God? In several ways. We pray namaz, don't we? And we do the formal devotions. And we make prayers. By the way, we're going to come to this. Why do we raise our hands towards the heavens when we pray? O our Father who art in heavens. Where did that come from? It's all there in the Qur'an. We, in order for us to talk with God, we talk with a formal God, but that God doesn't really satisfy. So now let's create a scenario. We stated this the other day. God puts forward this simile or parable or whatever. People caught within a stormy ocean. Their ship is about to be wrecked. There is no hope. The Qur'an says, immediately they begin to implore God, tadarru'an wa khifa, in fear, imploring Him. That God is not, oh Allah, I beseech you by your names, I beseech you by your Prophet. That God doesn't require any formal approach. That is the God that we say, oh Allah, Ya Allah, save me. That is the God that appears with the breaking of the veils. Or somebody close to us who is extremely unwell. A man might pray to Allah, but when a mother comes to her ailing child, she doesn't pray to Allah. Her heart opens to the God that is within. She doesn't understand formality. She just implores, oh my Lord, oh my Allah, cure him. There is no formality left. So we have to humanize God in order to relate to God. And this is what we find within the du'as, this phenomenal du'as. I hope I finished today, yes, this particular thing that we're supposed to finish today. Imam Ali, he says to God, if I were to burn in hell, if I were to be flung about, I will call unto you, where are you, O friend of the believers? And what pains me, O Lord, is not my burning, but will you hear one who calls unto you and turn a deaf ear? Will you see the plight of the one who's burning and calling unto you? Will you turn a blind eye? That is what is hurting me, O God. He is relating to God in a human capacity. That God cannot be understood. He is too phenomenal. It is understood here. Understanding requires for us to be able to relate to Him. And that is where the term Rabb comes, the intuitive understanding of God at our level. Do you not see how wonderfully in Munajatul Muttaqin is it? Ali Salamullah alayhi calls out to God and implores Him, you are the Creator, I the created. Who should I beseech but my Creator? You are the Sustainer, I sustained. Who should I beseech but my Sustainer? You are the guide, I am lost. That relation is created through the notion of Rabb. Now, I'm going to take this a step forward before we embark on today's talk. Similarly, the lofty one, the truth of all truth, He is well beyond any imagination. He is the beginning and the end, the apparent and the hidden. But the handiwork of God is creative. The creative ability of God is through an aspect and a facet of God. Can you not see this? Khallaqun Alim, the infinite creator. Do you know this? In the rightest of analysis, Whatever we create is the creation of the Supreme One. Do you know that? We take pride in the Eiffel Tower. God takes pride in the Eiffel Tower. I created it. And we gave an example. And Allah says in the Qur'an, Ahsanul Khaliqeen, He is the best of creators, to show that yes, there are creators. Now this prelude is going to be very, very useful for today, yes? It's going to be extremely useful. Now, who is the Lord and the identity of the Lord after this prelude? Go to Surah Sa'd 38, verses 71, 73. Due to the shortage of time, I might not recite all the verses. We'll just skim through a very cursory look. Now, this is the story of the creation of Adam, salamullah alayhi. Now, if you have read this story again and again and again in the Quran, it comes frequently. In one place, Qala, he said, who is the he? Ma mana'aka an tasjuda lima khalaqtu biyadayhi. Iblis, what prevents you from prostrating to the one I have created with my two hands? Your two hands. There is a story being told here. We have become oblivious due to not paying attention. Did the Prophet not say, وَيُصَوِّرُ فِي الْأَرْحَامِ, and he fashions within the wombs what he wants? Did the Prophet not say, your Lord has created you in His image? The ineffable can't have an image like the one we have. He is the possessor of all image and without image. So who has created us in their image? Whatever that image means. I'm not saying with a nose and eyes and whatever, but whatever that image means. But doesn't the Creator say He hears and He sees? Does He not say in the Quran, I gave you hearing, seeing, and hearts? Don't you see the sequences of the verses? In any case, in this surah, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَ إِنِّي خَالِقٌ بَشَرًا مِنْ طِينٍ. And when your Lord said to the angels, I will create a bashar, which we will call human for today, from clay. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. And when I have balanced him and breathed into him of my spirit, fall prostrated. So we know when your Lord said, it's the Lord speaking here, right? Got it? Now come to this verse again. Surah A'raf, Surah 7, verses 11 and 14. The same creative act. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَاكُمْ ثُمَّ صَوَّرْنَاكُمْ ثُمَّ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ. Indeed, we created you, and we fashioned you, and we said to the angels, prostrate before Adam. There it was, your Lord created. And here it says, we created you, we fashioned you, and we said to the angels, prostrate before Adam. Can you see this? The same thing the Lord is doing, the we is doing. We and the Lord are attributed with the same thing. Then again, Surah Hujurat 49:13. You'll find this everywhere in the Quran. Ya ayyuhan nas inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qabaila. O people, we have created you from a single male and a single female and made you into tribes and nations. We have created you. Now this is baffling, right? Where we are working into the identity of the Lord here and the connection between we, I, and the Lord. Then you find a particular verse in which all three references are coming seamlessly together. I, we, and the Lord. Surah Al-Ma'arij 70, verse 40. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِرَبِّ الْمَشَارِقِ وَالْمَغَارِبِ إِنَّا لَقَادِرُونَ. I swear by the Lord of the Easts and the Wests, we are more certainly all capable. So I, we, and the Lord of the East and the West, they're all together. Are you seeing this? The way you're looking at me scares me, by the way. So now, you find in that verse that we quoted earlier, لَقَدْ خَلَّقْنَاكُمْ ثُمَّ صَوَّرْنَاكُمْ ثُمَّ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا Iblis. And they all prostrated except Iblis. قَالَ, he said, yes? We don't know who the he is there. Come to the Surah Al-Hijr 15, 30, 39, the identity of he. So, the angels have prostrated, Iblis does not prostrate, and he says to Iblis, why haven't you prostrated? Iblis responds, verse 36, Qala Rabbi, Iblis said, my Lord. So Iblis calls him who is asking him, my Lord. So the word Lord is used there. Qala Rabbi, fa'anzirni ila yawmi yub'athun. Spare me to the time that they are raised. Qala فَإِنَّكَ مِنَ الْمُنْظَرِينَ. You are spared. إِلَى يَوْمِ الْوَقْتِ الْمَعْلُومِ. To an appointed day. Verse 39. قَالَ رَبِّي. He said, my Lord, فَبِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي. Due to the way you have deceived me, I will embellish the earth for them, and I will tempt them all and misguide them. So Iblis is calling on to the one who is talking with him as my Lord. So here we are seeing that I, we, he, Lord are all one and the same point of reference. So I is the narrator in the Qur'an who narrates on behalf of itself, on behalf of a collective, and somehow is also the Rabb. Now how do you reconcile all of this? Now let's go back to that verse that we cited in the very first lecture, Surah Al-A'raf 7:143, and work into it, and then we find some closure. If there's not enough space, just come here, yes? فَلَمَّا جَاءَ مُوسَى لِمِيقَاتِنَا وَكَلَّمَهُ رَبُّهُ. And when Moses came for our appointed time and meeting, and his Lord spoke with him. Can you see this? He came for our meeting and his Lord spoke with him. So there is a level of inseparability between the Lord and the we. قَالَ رَبِّي أَرَنِي أَنظُرْ إِلَيْكَ. He said, my Lord, and the narrator is narrating as I. He said, Lord, allow me to see you. قَالَ, his Lord said, لَن تَرَانِي, you will never see me. So we appoint a meeting for Moses. But we does not meet Moses, Rabb meets Moses. And I narrates the event, which is a part of the we. Can you see this? Are you getting it? Now, before going on to the next verses, we can immediately see here that Rabb is an expression of the we that faces the prophets and the angels and Iblis when in conversation. Let me just repeat that again. There is I, singular I, individual, talking in the Qur'an throughout. The speech of the I, as I'm saying here, is not the speech of God, but it is ordained by God, and we concluded that the Qur'an is a production of God and why it can't be otherwise. Qur'an does not have any discrepancies in there, and inductively we can see that, and please go out and check. The discrepancies come into the Qur'an due to false assumptions or faulty assumptions. And the way to check the assumptions is to see if these assumptions lead to discrepancies within the readings of the Qur'an. So, if the Qur'an has no discrepancies, then that means that the producer of the Qur'an is an ineffable authority which is infallible, which has fullness of all knowledge. We concluded that. We said, yet, the speaker in the Qur'an is not God. Because the speaker in the Qur'an says, I have taken this action, or we have taken this action, but this action could have been overruled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The speaker in the Qur'an says, we have given you these verses, but Allah has changed the verses, and Ruhul Qudus has come with those verses. So the speaker is speaking at times on behalf of God, but majority of the time the speaker in the Qur'an is speaking, articulating the meanings, ثُمَّ إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا بَيَانًا, as we read yesterday, and we will explicate and explain the Qur'an to you, but through the consent of God. And yet God reserves the right to cancel any of those verses. We saw that, right? Then يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ. And وَإِذَا وَمَا نَنْسَخْ مِنْ آيَةٍ أَوْ نُنْسِيهَا. We do not abrogate a verse, or we do not cause it to be forgotten. These fluctuations are happening in the moment. So the speaker in the Qur'an belongs in the third category, but there is more to it that will come tomorrow. In the third category, أَوْ يُرْسِلَ رَسُولًا, or that he sends a messenger, يُوحِي بِإِذْنِهِ مَا يَشَاءُ, who inspires through the consent of God whatever the messenger wants. So the speaker, according to this analysis, belongs to the third category, although I said we will work into it further tomorrow. There is far more to it. This is just a simplistic one for today. So the speaker is narrating, inspiring on behalf of itself, as you will see later on today, on behalf of the collective and as the Lord. But the Lord facet is not distinct from the speaker or the we in the Qur'an. The Lord facet in the Qur'an is the expression of the we when it engages with the prophets and with Iblis and with angels. Has that come through? Because the we cannot be understood by the prophets or the angels. But when the we communicates, not through inspiration, but through physical speech or something to that effect, then the we acquires the status of the Lord. Can you see that? Is it coming through or not? Okay, let's resort to our examples again. Let's say there's a senior board, right? They take decisions. But they have a spokesman and a spokesperson who conveys to junior management or senior management. There you will not get the whole board coming and speaking. You will get one person representing them. And that one person is conveying the decisions of the board. Does that make it more meaningful? But here, the whole entirety of the we is represented in the form of the Rabb. The we cannot communicate directly with fleshed people or fired people or people of light, angels or Iblis or humans. So you have an expression that is the Rabb that communicates. Now let's drive home that meaning. Surah Al-A'raf, Surah 7, verses 20 and 23. Now we're going to pick on these verses tomorrow to give a lot more clarity from the previous scriptures. But for today, it's a story of Adam and Bibi Hawa being beguiled by the Iblis. And there's a lot going on here that we might explore tomorrow. And the shaitan whispered to them in order to disclose to them what was hidden from them of their private parts. And he said to them, "Your Lord," so Adam knows who his Lord is, "your Lord Adam and Hawa has not prevented you from this tree, save that you may become two angels, or you may become ever living." Do you know something? We think he was lying. He wasn't lying. Iblis spoke the truth there deceptively, but it's the truth that he's speaking. Yes? And we will see that through references of Genesis. Here now the deception of Iblis begins. وَقَاسَمُهُمَا إِنِّي لَكُمَا مِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. And he swore, he took an oath that I mean well for you, which was a deception. He did not mean well for them. فَدَلَّهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. And he directed them through deception. فَلَمَّا ذَاقَ الشَّجَرَةَ. And when both of them tasted the tree, بَدَتْ لَهُمَا سَوْآتِهُمَا. For them were revealed their private parts. In a frenzy, they began to cover themselves with the leaves of paradise. Min warakil Jannah. Now comes the important part. And we'll see tomorrow how important this particular part is. The Qur'an says, فَنَادَاهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا. Their Lord called out to them. A literal interpretation is that there is Lord calling out at a distance. He called out to them. Now if you look at the Genesis, and we will go there tomorrow, the Lord said, "Where are you, Adam?" He said, "I felt shy and I began to cover myself." Who told you you were naked? Have you eaten from the fruit? So the Genesis version is, He called out to them because Adam and Hawa were hiding away somewhere through embarrassment and shame. It's like a child. The children don't understand embarrassment and shamefulness when they're naked. Or the dreams that many people get at an earlier age, not at a later date, but at an earlier age, in which they are naked and they feel no sense of shame. And all of a sudden, in their dream, they become mindful that people are watching me and they feel a sense of embarrassment and shame. Does anybody have those sort of dreams? Yeah, I saw a couple of people nodding, so alhamdulillah. It's not an isolated incident. So Adam and Hawa had no realization, no understanding in their innocence of nakedness. All of a sudden they eat the fruit and they understand the meaning of nakedness and embarrassment and shame. Now they are running away somewhere. فَنَادَاهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا. Their Lord calls out to them. So the one engaging with Adam was the Lord. We created him. We fashioned him. But the Lord interacts with Adam and Bibi Hawa. Not we. We, I'm going to use this word which is totally false, personified in the form of Lord. Then come to Surah Baqarah. Surah 2, 260. It's a story of Ibrahim. And the story, if you read it from before this verse, it really opens up the gems and secrets of what's going on. So here, Ibrahim says, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. My Lord, show me how you resurrect the dead. Now tell me something. Ibrahim is having a conversation. قَالَ أَوَلَمْ تُؤْمِنْ. He said, do you not have faith? قَالَ بَلَى. He said, yes, I do have faith. وَلَكِنْ لَيَطْمَئِنَّ قَلْبِي. In order for my heart to feel at ease that whatever you've told me is the truth. Now Ibrahim is a master. He is the supreme one, right? The father of monotheism and the greatest imam the world has ever produced. How can it be expected of Ibrahim to ask the Lord, how will you resurrect the dead? It can't. You know, Ibrahim would intuitively know that he is the master, the Fatir samawati wal ard. He can resurrect the dead. Who is Ibrahim talking with? And you can see here that Ibrahim is conversing. He is conversing like Moses was conversing. In the bush, there was one-way conversation, wasn't there? But when Ibrahim came for our meeting and his Lord spoke with him, Lord speaking with him, show me what you look like, O God. How can Moses say to the ineffable God, show me what you look like? God doesn't have a face. What was Moses seeing? Who was he talking with? Ibrahim, who is he conversing with? Will you not believe? Yes, but for my heart to find peace. He says, then take 4 birds and you know the rest of the story. So Ibrahim is conversing with the Lord. Then come to Surah Maryam. This reference is there twice, but I've only chose one reference. Surah 19, verses 2 to 10. قال ربي إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعاء ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا. It's a mention by your Lord of Zakaria when he called out to his Lord in a soft tone. When he called out to his Lord, he called out to Allah from within. And he said, "O Lord, my bones have become frail, my hair has turned white, yet I am not hopeless of you granting me my prayers. وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي." O Lord, I am fearful that none will succeed me after me. وَإِمْرَأَتِي آقِرَةٌ, and my wife has become barren, unproductive. فَهَبْلِنِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. O Lord, grant me a successor from yourself. يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ وَاجْعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا, that he may inherit from me and from the Al Yaqub and be pleased with him. Now look at this verse. Ya Zakaria, it's a direct conversation. O Zakaria, inna, we, nubashiruka bi ghulam, we give you the glad tidings of a son, ismuhu Yahya, whose name is Yahya, lam naj'al lahu min qablu samiyya, who we have not, a name we have not given to anyone previously. We called out. The same story we saw yesterday in Surah Anbiya. Every prophet calls out to his Lord and we responds. Do you remember that? In yesterday's verses, the same thing is happening here. He calls out to his Lord and the Lord he calls out to his Lord and we respond to him. Now, Zakaria is saying, Qala, he said, Rabbi, my Lord, Anna yakunu li ghulam. How can I have a child? Well, isn't that amazing? You've asked for a child, they're giving you one and say, how can I have a child? In any case, it's his surprise, joy. Yeah? قال ربي أن يكون لي غلام وكانت امرأتي عاقرة وقد بلغت من الكبر عتيا. How can I have a child when my wife cannot bear children and I have become such an old man? قال, he said. Now look at and pay attention to this verse. قال, he said. Who? Rabbi, the one that he is addressing. He is not addressing a collective. We said to Zakaria, we will bless you with a son. He's not addressing the we. He's addressing the Lord. Qala Rabbi, as if he doesn't know about the we. He only knows the Rabb. Qala Rabbi, how will I have a child? The response comes from the Rabb. Qala kadhalik, it is like that. Qala Rabbuka. So he's saying, my Lord, how is this possible? He said, the Lord said, it is possible. Your Lord is saying. Isn't that phenomenal? Zakaria is saying, Lord, how is that possible? Qala, the Lord replies, it is like that. Your Lord is saying it. So who is the Lord and who is the Lord of the Lord? Are you seeing this nuances here? Are you seeing the details here? So the one engaging with Zakaria says, calls the Lord. Zakaria calls on to Allah from the depth of his heart. He gets a response from the we. The we's response comes through a figure known as the Lord. Can you see that? His Lord says, he says, my Lord. How is it possible? The Lord replies, Zakaria, your Lord will make it happen. Not I. Are you seeing this? Qala kadhadik, qala rabbuka, your Lord is saying, huwa alayya hayyun, it's very easy for me. Qad khalaqtuka min qablu wa lam taku shay'a, I've created you from before and you weren't a thing. Are you seeing? The one engaging with Zakaria is in direct conversation with Zakaria. Now maybe Zakaria is seeing him or just feeling the presence or whatever, that is another thing altogether. Qala Rabb ij'al li aya, my Lord, make for me a sign. He says, you will not talk with people for 3 days, except for Wahi, which means gestures. Imagine if God says that to me, you're not going to talk with them for 3 days, just sign language. You'd be happy, wouldn't you? Salawat. Okay, let's deepen the story a little bit more. And the Lord. Now look at these verses. Surah Al-Haqqah 69:17. So it's talking about how the heavens will become frail on the day of Qiyamah. They'll become frail, yes? So the verse says, وَالْمَلَكُ عَلَى أَرْجَائِهَا, and the angels will be upon the sides of this heaven that's become frail. وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةً, and the throne of your Lord will be carried by 8 upon them on that day. 8 will carry the throne of your Lord. Now, the ineffable Lord doesn't need a throne. He doesn't sit on a throne. Yes? He is Nuru Samawati wal Ard. He is the light of the heavens and the earth. He doesn't need a throne. The throne of your Lord will be carried on that day by 8. Okay? Surah Al-Fajr, Surah 89, verse 22. وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا, and your Lord shall come, and the angels in rows upon rows. Your Lord will come, and the angels rows upon rows will come on the day of Qiyamah. Come again. Surah Al-Qiyamah, verse 75, 22, Surah 75, verses 22, 23. No, sorry. That's right, yes. Surah 75, verses 22, 23. وَجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ, faces on that day will be radiant. إِلَى رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ, looking to their Lord, looking towards their Lord. Can you see this? So here what we are seeing is that I is talking within the Qur'an, appears to be the third category within that verse. But it's more than the third category, as we'll explain tomorrow. But at this point appears to be the third category. It is talking as a singular entity narrating the whole of the Qur'an. It quotes from God but doesn't tell us what God inspired. It narrates an event of God, of Allah talking with Moses, and narrates that event, doesn't say it was I. Keeps God as the other, says He has the fullness of knowledge, the final decree, the final everything is with God. He is the ineffable one, says the speaker. The speaker speaks seamlessly on behalf of itself and on behalf of the collective. The speaker assumes the expression of the Lord when expressing itself to humans on the day of Qiyamah, to prophets, to angels, and to Iblis. Now we come back to that verse that we cited yesterday, Surah Ad-Dariyat, Surah 51, verse 56, 58. مَا خَلَقْتَ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, I have not created the jinn and the humans except that they worship me, or except that they devote themselves to me, or except that they serve me. Look at the next verse. مَا أُرِيدْ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ رِزْقٍ, I don't want them to sustain me. I don't want sustenance from them. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَن يُطْعِمُونَ, and I don't want them to feed me food. Which God speaks like this? Look at the next verse. إِنَّ اللَّهُ وَالرَّزَّاقِ, indeed Allah is the sustainer. ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينَ, the possessor of undying strength. Can you see the distinction here? The Rabb talks as the creator. Allah is made into the other. Now we come back to our analysis, and then we finish with the quote of a verse. We come back to our analysis, that the ineffable truth is the ineffable truth. Allah is the source, is Nuru Samawati wal Ard. You can't distinguish between the source and the creation. It is that intimate. There is a realm at which we need to connect with that beauty. We give it somewhat of a human relationship, and we call on to Him, Ya Rabbi. And it is calling on to that ineffable, untarnished beauty. But at the same time, the Rabb behaves as the creative aspect of that ineffable beauty. Has that come through? If that's come through, then let's read this verse, Surah Luqman, Surah 31, verses 14 and 15. Now pay very close attention here. Yesterday, I copped out in one verse because I was scared to narrate it. But today, after this prelude, I feel confident enough to do it. Yes? It's a similar type of a verse, but from another surah. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ. And we bequeathed to human being, to a man, concerning his parents. حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا. His mother carried him in weakness, ala wahan, upon weakness. وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. And the separation from the womb in 2 years. Separation of wet nursing and pregnancies in 2 years. And ashkur li, thank me, waliwalidaik, and both of your parents. Ilayya al-masir, to me is your return. Imagine, to me is your return. Inna alayna hisabuhum thumma inna ilayna iyabuhum. Inna ilayna iyabuhum thumma inna alayna hisabuhum. Indeed, their return is to us, and their accountability is upon us and to us. Can you see that? Ilayya al-masir, to me is your return. وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. And if they obstinately tell you to associate with me that of which you have no knowledge, فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا, then do not be obedient to them. وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا, and accompany them in a good way within this world. وَاتَّبِعْ سَبِيلَ مَنْ أَنَابَ إِلَيَّ, and follow the path of those who have turned to me. ثُمَّ إِلَيَّ مَرْجِعُكُمْ, then to me is your return. فَأُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, and I will disclose to you whatever you used to do. So these are functions of God being carried out at a creative level, but through what we are understanding right now as we, I, and the Lord. And Imam Sadiq said, these are the greatest friends of God, for they display the pleasure of God and they display the displeasure of God. For God is beyond emotional states. I want to leave it at that. I know it's a bit of a cliffhanger, but if it ensures that you come back tomorrow, then it's worth it. We come to the narration of those people who have cut through the fog of uncertainty and doubt, and who have embraced the beauty of God that is internally available. And you see these people, and you see how they are, and you know that through them I find God. So if you watch social media, you will see that majority of this Christian and Jewish youngsters and atheists who are coming to Islam is by watching the videos of the Palestinian fathers and mothers whose children are killed, who are devastated, yet with their tears they cry out, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for me, and He is the best of guardians. They say, yes, they are displaying to us the inner cry that we have within ourselves, and we recognize who they are talking about. That is the God. They are not saying, God, why did you plan this? Why did you do this? Why do you allow them to kill us? They are saying, no, hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. There is a deep truth here, and the truth is untarnished. And we take hold of that truth to walk through these turbulent times. And they introduce us to that God that is deep within us. Now here you see a person who has given everything away for the love of her life, Al-Hussein. Ibn Ziyad is poking at the face of Hussein, ridiculing Hussein. You had a good set of teeth, O Hussein. And Zainab cried, the heart breaks in pain at what you do. Is this how you strike at the face of the beloved of the Prophet? Did you see, Zainab, the decree of God as it unfolded concerning your brother? Do you see what God did to him? When it comes to God, she says, I've seen nothing but beauty prevail. This sister of Hussein is so immersed in Hussein that we find from the time she arrives in Karbala, she is restless. She says to Hussein, where are your helpers? On the night of Ashura, O Hussein, will your companions abandon you or be with you? I will say, Zainab, your brother will not live. Even if you add companions to his force, he will be taken. Do you not see the magnitude of the army? But nay, she does not see reason. She sees only her brother, that he must not be killed. He must live. Hamid ibn Muslim, we get this narration. He walks within the battlefield on the 11th of Muharram. I found everybody attended to by a wailing, lamenting mother or a sister or a child. In that I saw 2 bodies unattended. I said, who be they? Have they come without a guardian or a parent? They are the sons of Zainab. Where is she? You will find her at the body of her brother. I said, Zainab, shall you not spare tears for your own children? I have given them for my brother. It is the night of Ashura. We hear this from the Dhakirin. It conveys the sentiment. She summons her children and she says, tomorrow, what will you do? We will give our lives. She said, if you arrive at water, drink it not. Bring it back for my brother. On the day of Ashura, when Hussein's forces fall, and it comes to after the noon, and when there is single combat, Zainab sees Akbar falling, other gallant warriors falling. She calls on to her sons. Why do you not advance? Our uncle refuses. She says, call my brother. Hussein hesitates, and I convey the sentiment. Finally he comes, unable to look at her. She says, my brother, look into my eyes. What will I respond to our mother on the day of Qiyamah? But Ja'far may be displeased, O Zainab. Ja'far gave them for you, O Hussein. Let it be then. Let them give their lives. Now we find this in Maqatil. She told them to wear their newest garments. She combed their hair. And she put collyrium within their eyes. And this is how this sister presents her offering in the name of her brother. As they arrive into the battlefield, Umar ibn Sa'ad says, I am baffled at the love a sister has for her brother, to send the apples of her eyes to be killed and destroyed. Muhammad falls, On comes and lifts Muhammad, O brother. Very soon I shall be with you, and Muhammad falls. The narration is this, that Hussein brings both the bodies back to the tents himself, in a way that the chest of the two children are within his arms and their feet drag against the dust of Karbala. Now on that day, whenever Hussein brought back a body, the women would run out to wail upon the bodies, and Zainab would be in front of them. On this occasion, Hussein sees all the women are there, but Zainab is not there. Hussein understands that her sister does not wish him to feel a sense of embarrassment.